Welcome, beautiful, amazing sister, to this episode of the Dancing with the Goddess show. I'm your host, Priestess Torah Arish Moon. I invite and welcome you to this sacred space where we connect heart and soul with each other and the Goddess to remember our authentic truth. Join me in exploring Goddess spirituality to awaken the divine within and remember who we really are. Each week, me and my sister priestesses explore Goddess spirituality, living in thrival, having a sacred spiritual life fully aligned with our passionate purpose. Here you'll find insight, sacred practices, and Goddess lore. On with the show. This week's episode is sponsored by me. I am a spiritual life coach specializing in giving you Goddess guidance and discovering your passionate purpose that's fully aligned with your soul and what you came here to do. Over the course of 3 months, we'll get very clear on what your passionate purpose is and why you chose to come now to this world and in this body. And then we'll take the steps on how you can live that passionate purpose and bring your light to the world. And in the process, you'll be living in thrival and thriving in your most magical, amazing life. Every month, I'll be working with a different goddess. And over the weeks of the month, I'll be sharing with you their different qualities and how we can connect and align our energies with that goddess. And so for January, we're working with the goddess Saraswati. And I have a statue of her sitting next to me to help guide us in our conversation today. So who is Saraswati? She's the Hindu goddess of creativity, learning, and knowledge. And I thought she was a great one to start January with as we start fresh in this new year and this new decade. How exciting is it that we're starting a new decade of the roaring 20s, as some people are calling it, referring back to the 1920s, and now we're in the 2020s. Woohoo! How fun is that? I'm stepping forward in this decade in a place of thriving and creating my most magical, mystical, amazing life ever. And I'm sharing how you can do that as well. So Saraswati, she's part of the Hindu trinity of Lakshmi and Parvati. And these 3 goddesses are the main goddesses of creation. They all have aspects of the creation of this world along with their masculine divine partners, Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma. That's one of the things I do like about the Hindu philosophy and teachings, is that it's very balanced with the masculine and the feminine divine. When Brahma started creating this world, it was just chaos because he didn't have balance yet. And he didn't have the balance of the feminine divine. And so was birthed out of his desire for that balance, Saraswati. And she is that divine knowledge that gives this world its balance. And Shiva is nothing without Parvati, and Vishnu is nothing without Lakshmi. The masculine energy is the thought, and the feminine energy is that which gives it form and manifestation. We need both the feminine and the masculine divine. And I acknowledge this, and I fully believe that we need both. But I am a goddess priestess. I work with the goddess and the feminine divine. It isn't that I don't acknowledge and know and appreciate the masculine divine. I'm just not his priestess. I'm the goddess's priestess. And so that's why you'll hear me talking about the goddess and not so much the god. I just don't know much about him. I do about the goddess. So Saraswati is usually pictured as a very beautiful woman, more of a young woman. So here's a picture of Saraswati. She's usually dressed in a white sari with yellow trim or edging or yellow in the sari, and that's for her purity, and the yellow is for the knowledge. And she's usually shown playing a veena, which is a stringed instrument, which goes along with her quality of creativity. And she's said to have brought music to humanity. And in one hand, she's holding a mala, or sacred prayer beads, which is that knowledge and sacred practices. And in her other hand is a book for learning. And in this picture, she's shown with a peacock, which, when it fans its tail, is an aspect of creativity. And in other pictures, or other, like in this statue that I have of her, she's riding a swan, which is also a symbol of purity. And she may be sitting on a white lotus or her swan, either one. So you'll know what she looks like when she shows up in your meditations, when you're connecting with her. The book that she carries is a representation of the Vedas, or the Holy Scriptures in Hindu. And one of her names is Veda Mata, or the Mother of the Vedas. And she's thought to have been the mother of the Vedas and brought them to humanity, and with her pure knowledge. And the Vedas signify universal divine knowledge as well as learning in all forms. The mala, and I have my mala sitting here, is a string of beads that we count our prayers. And most malas are 108. If it's a full mala, it's 108 beads, so that you're saying your prayers 108 times, which is the sacred number in Hindu. Now these might look similar to a rosary. Malas came first, but they both serve the same purpose of counting our prayers and focusing our prayers. In this case with Saraswati, the mala is symbolizing our sacred practices of prayer, of chanting, of meditation, and going within. And Saraswati's knowledge is not just learning and book knowing, but it's the knowledge of self and the essence of ourselves. We find the essence of ourselves while doing our spiritual practices. The veena that she carries is a representation of creativity in all its forms. And she's known as a muse. And she can act as a muse for us if we're stuck in our creativity. And as we'll talk about next week when we talk about creativity, it is more than just the visual arts. Just because you can't draw doesn't mean that you don't have creativity. We'll talk more about that next week. So that's our goddess lore for this week, and talking about Saraswati. So our sacred practice for this week is to begin connecting with Saraswati in your prayers and your meditation. So closing your eyes and in your meditation, just getting an image of Saraswati and calling her and asking her to come to you. And I guess we're doing a short meditation. I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. Take another deep cleansing breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And another. And as you breathe in serenity. And as you breathe out any stress or uncomfortableness. Breathing in peace and serenity. Breathing out stress. Just feeling peaceful and relaxed. And taking a deep breath, going deeper into your meditation, going deeper into yourself. 2, going even deeper. And 3, fully in yourself, fully relaxed. And you see yourself in the forest in front of a beautiful pond. And there's a huge lotus floating out in the middle of the pond, a huge white lotus. And a swan is just floating on the pond, just floating very gently on the pond, and it's very serene. You sit down at the edge of the pond, just enjoying the peacefulness and the serenity of this place. And you notice that the lotus starts to open and unfold. And in the center of it is a beautiful woman. And you can hear this stringed instrument playing, and she's playing this instrument. You notice she has 4 arms. She's dressed in a white sari, beautiful, glowing white silk sari with a yellow top and with yellow trim on it. And she sees you and gives you a beautiful smile. And she steps off of her lotus onto her swan. And the swan brings her to the edge of the pond in front of you, and she steps off and greets you. And you notice she's still holding this long stringed instrument in 2 of her hands. And in her other left hand, she is holding a book. And in her right hand, she's holding a string of mala beads. And Saraswati hands you one of these 3 items. Does she hand you the veena, the musical instrument? Does she hand you the book? Or does she give you the mala beads? Pay attention to what she gave you. And thank her. We always thank the deities and our helpers for that which they share with us and give us. So express your gratitude to Saraswati for the gift she is giving you today. When you do, she gets back on her swan and back to her lotus, and the lotus folds back up over her. And you begin to return to this time and space, taking a deep breath in, and the pond and the forest begins to fade away. Another deep breath in, and letting it out slowly, being more conscious of your body, the feel of the chair or the floor beneath you, more conscious of the sound of my voice. And 1, getting more fully in your body. 2, more fully. And 3, opening your eyes. You may want to stretch, wiggle your fingers and your toes so that you're fully in this body, fully in this time, and you're not left back in the other time frame, the other space that we were in. What did the goddess give you today? So if she gave you the veena, or the musical instrument, you're being asked to connect more with your creativity. Perhaps you did play a musical instrument at one time, and it's time that you pick it up again. Or maybe you've been feeling like you wanted to learn a musical instrument, and now's the time. Or pick up some crayons or markers or colored pencils and color and draw, and just let your inner child play. Maybe get some clay. Or write that poem that's kind of in the back of your head, or start that story, or get out your paints again. Or maybe decorate a cake. Whatever way that you express creativity, you're being asked to explore that today. And if she gave you a book, there's something that you need to learn. Maybe a new skill, maybe some new tech. Are you looking to do an app for something that you're doing? Maybe you need to learn Facebook ads, or learn to connect more deeply to yourself, to live and thrive. How to read tarot cards, whatever. Doesn't matter. You'll know. You know what you want to learn and what interests you. And it's time now for you to take that step to learn whatever it is that you need to learn. What new skill, what new technique that's been kind of sitting in the back of your head. Now's the time to do it. You've been thinking about taking a course? Now is the time to do it. If she gave you the mala beads, you're being asked to connect more deeply to yourself, to deepen your sacred practice, or if you haven't started doing a sacred practice every day, you're being asked now and being nudged and guided to start a sacred practice. That can be doing mantras, and you can find mantras all over. It can be sitting in meditation. It can be just prayers. You can do a spiritual practice, can be going for a walk and noticing the beauty that's around you and connecting with the divine that is all over, that's around, and the divine that's within you. So I hope you enjoyed this sacred practice and this meditation to connect with Saraswati. I hadn't planned on sharing it with you, but that's what she wanted, and I listened to the goddess. I invite you to join our Facebook community group, and it's a safe place of other sisters. And I really want to grow this group as a community where we're sharing our life with each other, that we're sharing our wins, we're sharing our challenges, and being supported in our challenges, being supported in our wins, being cheered on, and where we can share our creativity and what we're doing with our creativity, and be a sisterhood. So if you feel comfortable, join our Facebook group and share, what did Saraswati bring to you this week? I'd love to know. I'd love to get to know you, my sister. So that's all I have for you in this episode. And I will see you next week, where we are connecting with Saraswati and creativity. May the blessings of Saraswati be with you in your creativity, learning, and knowledge of yourself. I am so deeply grateful that you have taken the time out of your day to share this video or this podcast with me. I really do appreciate you being part of my community and dancing with the goddess with me. May you dance with the goddess in love and joy. I love you. Thank you all. Bye.